Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Safi Sprocket, and this is where we deep dive into the world of EV bikes, smart mobility, and tech that moves us forward. Now, today we are going full throttle into one of the boldest and most futuristic electric motorcycles out there. I am, of course, talking about the NAXEON I AM Pro. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Is this just another overhyped concept bike with flashing lights and gimmicks? Or does it have real engineering, real power, and real-world rideability to back it up? Well, stick with me because today we are going to be unpacking this thing from top to bottom, and we're going to be covering everything from design to ride comfort to battery life, tech features, safety systems, and everything in between. So let's go.
This one was completely my fault.
Now, first things first, the design. And this thing is beautiful. It doesn't just catch your eye, it grabs you by the collar and pulls you in. From the moment you see it, this bike stands out in all the best ways. Riding it on the road was seriously turning heads. You've got a futuristic chassis with sleek angular lines, integrated lighting, and a silhouette that feels like it belongs out of a cyberpunk film. But there's more than just aesthetics here. The design incorporates a highly functional approach to urban riding. The lighting isn't just ambient, it's directional, it's communicative, and you get the welcome lights, turning signal animations, radar alerts, all through a bunch of lighting cues, and even charging indicators that glow with different animations based on your battery level. Then there's the unique girder-style front suspension. It's not just for show, it's a deliberate design choice that improves the front-end rigidity whilst reducing dive during harsh braking. It also gives the front profile of the bike a strikingly different appearance compared to anything else on the market. But let's talk about the materials that it's made of. Now, the body panels are made from high-impact composites that are both sturdy and lightweight. The paint comes in a stealth matte finish that looks pretty high-end, but it is a little bit vulnerable to scratches. So many of you may want to be a little bit careful riding this thing around. You don't want to be surfing it down the road. Now, if you're concerned about longevity, despite being from a new brand, the fit and finish are impressive. The panel gaps are pretty tight, the switches feel really premium, and the touch points all exceed my expectations majorly. It doesn't feel like a silly prototype bike either. It does feel like a refined, well-built bike with a great amount of attention to detail. So let's move on to what really matters in an electric motorcycle, the motor. Now, the I AM Pro is powered by a 10.5 kilowatt rear hub motor that's about 14 horsepower. But do not let those numbers fool you. What really matters here is torque. And here you get a massive 273 newton meters of it. So torquey. Now, in terms of speed, that's 0 to 50 kilometers in 2.8 seconds and a top speed of 115 kilometers, which is about 71 on paper. I'll be honest, in practice, I found it about 55 on the motorway. Now, the acceleration is instant and very, very silent. There is no lag, there are no gears, it's just pure linear speed, and it's like riding a magnet force field. Now, you also get free riding modes. You have sail mode. Now, this is your eco-friendly setting. It is a soft throttle response, it's gentle acceleration, and great for conserving range. You also have dynamic mode, which is a good mixture of performance and efficiency, and it's the one that I use the most. And the third mode is zigzag mode. Now, this is full power unleashed, it's sharper throttle response, and it's a bit more of an aggressive torque curve. Now, let's not forget that boost button, which gives you a full 15 seconds of enhanced power. Perfect for overtakes, pulling out at roundabouts and junctions, or even just for a little bit of fun. Now, it's also worth noting the torque in terms of the hub motor feels different from a mid-drive system. There's less mechanical feedback, and it's ultra smooth, but it is a little bit detached if you are coming from a traditional bike. Now this bike runs on a 6.5 kilowatt semi-solid state battery, which offers some advantages over a traditional lithium-ion pack. It's more energy dense, it's more firmly stable, and it should, in theory, have a longer lifespan. And the claim range of this bike is 111 miles. But let's talk about real-world numbers. And to be honest, in rural areas, riding through the cities, riding through the towns, and doing all of those odd chores that you would do, commuting to the work, gym, meeting friends, it was true to its claim. However, on the motorway at full speed, it capped out around 55 miles at full throttle, giving it all. Now, obviously, range will depend on a few key factors. What I'm talking about in terms of this is, of course, things like ride mode, speed and traffic, the weight of the rider, the ambient temperature. But yeah, overall, in a rural setting, the range was what it was claimed to be. Full throttle on the motorway, not so much. Now, in terms of the charging experience, it is worth mentioning here a standard 220 volt home outlet will give you a full charge in 4-ish hours. Fast charging takes you from 20% to 80%, and that takes you about 90 minutes. Now, you can also get smart charging controls via the app. You can do things like set charging times, start and stop times, limit max charging levels, which is great for long-term battery. You can also view the real-time charge progress. Now, one of the things that I really appreciated was the charging port lock. Now, this prevents the theft of your charger and also your bike, and it also prevents tampering whilst your machine is being charged. So how does the I AM Pro feel when you're actually on it for an extended ride? Comfort-wise, the bike leans into the urban commuter role. You have a fairly upright riding position thanks to its high handlebars and a mid-mounted foot peg setup. This means that you're not really hunched over forward like you would be on a sports bike, nor are you in a laid-back cruiser position. You're right in the middle, alert, upright, and ready for some tight maneuvering. The seat height is 800 millimeters, which makes it accessible for a whole variety of riders. Now, I'm 5'7", and I could flat foot both feet very easily. Even shorter riders should feel comfortable on this bike, thanks to the narrow seat design. Suspension is handled by the unique front girder system and a rear monoshock. I found the bike absorbed potholes and bumps really well at city speeds, and the bike did remain planted in a lot of corners. However, ride it hard on those less than perfect road conditions like back-end country lanes, farm roads, you will definitely feel a lot of chatter through the front. Now, not from the suspension stiffness, but from the solid girder structure that doesn't dampen vibration, as well as telescopic forks. As for passenger comfort, there is no passenger comfort. This is a strict single-seater. There is no additional foot pegs, there is no pillion seat, there are no grab handles. This bike is clearly designed for solo riders who want a focused commuting experience. Now, the storage is also minimal. You are going to need a backpack or custom seat mounts to carry daily essentials. Now, I do know that there are additional bags that you can get for carrying the charger with you. However, for the test ride, I did not have access to these. However, if your goal is quick, stylish, and comfortable solo commuting, this bike absolutely delivers. Now, let's talk about safety, because this is where the I AM Pro really distances itself from most commuter bikes. The first thing to highlight is that this bike is equipped with front and rear high-definition dash cams. Now, these aren't GoPro-styled mounts. In fact, they're fully integrated, they're discreet, and they're always recording. Whether you're capturing scenic commutes or even logging evidence in case of an incident, these systems add serious value. In addition to this, you can press a button on the left handlebars to instantly mark a clip as important, which bookmarks the footage for easy access later in the app. Think of it as a built-in black box, but for motorcycles. Now let's layer in the radar technology. This bike provides blind spot detection, lights on the side that alert you if somebody is sneaking up behind you to ensure that you know to check your blind zones. In addition to this, it gives you rear collision alerts. It'll flash to warn you if a fast approaching vehicle gets a little bit too close. And these alerts are seamlessly integrated into the ambient lighting system. And so instead of cluttering the screen with icons, it uses colors and positions to communicate intuitively to you. And if that wasn't enough to sell it to you, on top of that, you also get ABS and traction control. Both work behind the scenes to keep you stable, especially in the wet and in uneven road surfaces. There's also tip over detection, which sends an alert to your phone if the bike does fall over whilst it's parked. Combine that with GPS tracking and the onboard sensors, and you have a lot of peace of mind whether you're on the bike or not. And I just really want to emphasize the amount of features that is packed into this bike at its price range is simply unheard of. You are getting a crazy amount of technology that is equivalent to car level safety tech, but on a lightweight urban electric machine. Now let's move on to tech. If you're a fan of gadgets like I am, this may be your favorite part. The dash is a 5.5-inch full-color touchscreen, and it's bright, responsive, and packed with a lot of information. From speed to battery life to riding modes to radar activity and even weather updates. I know, weather updates. And no, it's not just for show. The screen is smart enough to lock out most features whilst riding to avoid distraction. There's also navigation, music controls, ride histories, camera playback. All of these are really accessible when the bike is stationary. But the real magic is in the mobile phone app. Through the app, you can remotely unlock the bike using your phone. You can track rides, mileage, battery health. You can watch dash cam footage directly on your device. You can also customize the lighting behavior and display themes, as well as scheduling charging to avoid peak rates or preserve the battery life. It also supports over-the-air updates, which means that your bike gets better with time, which is not something you can often say about many two-wheelers. On top of that, there's also 4G, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth all on board with a SIM card. And yes, there is a SIM card slot, which means that you can communicate completely independently even if your phone is not nearby. It is a truly connected machine. Honestly, this feels less like a motorcycle and more like a Tesla-level experience, scaled down to two wheels. Alright, let's talk about what it's like to actually live with this bike day to day. In urban environments, this thing is a dream. Its instant torque makes getting off the line feel thrilling. The bike's slim profile and lightweight makes filtering through traffic incredibly easy. And parking, you can literally squeeze this thing into spots where scooters would struggle, thanks to its reversing mode. Yes, this motorbike has a reverse. And because it's silent, it's also great for early commuters or late night rides. You won't wake the neighbors, you won't contribute to noise pollution, and handling is sharp. And even though it looks futuristic, it's surprisingly intuitive to bikers. The low center of gravity and the direct electrical drive make it a very predictable and confidence-inspiring machine. So where does this machine stumble? I am of course talking about motorway riding. Now on paper the top speed caps out at 70, however with wind resistance coming into noticeable play, also the weight of the rider, I found for me it capped out around 60. Now there is no fairing or windshield, and the single gear means you're running full throttle for longer stretches. In turn, this drains the battery and it isn't super comfortable. But for its intended use, which is city commuting, quick errands, and fun zips around the town, it nailed the brief. And it does it with more personality and tech than anything else in its price bracket. Overall, to be completely honest with you guys, I had a lot of fun on this bike. I think it's really, really great. And I think if you were looking for a machine to commute on that was electric, that has a lot of gadgets and gizmos, and you kind of like your tech, I definitely feel like you'd really enjoy this bike. Now, if you guys want to see more great bike content, don't forget to hit subscribe. In the meantime, my name is Safi Sprocket. Ride safe, stay crazy, and I'll see you next week. Bye!